Yes. So, coming to the subtopic, human respiratory system. So, overall it is. So, here we can observe the what are the parts of this one, as we know that nose. Next, this is nose portion. Nose will be going to opens into pharynx. So pharynx, esophagus and trachea both divide होगा. बाद में trachea here, this is a voice box actually, but NCERT में दे दिया sound box. Let us, we can consider this a sound box, and totally this is the trachea. Trachea divides into bronchi, and they are subdivided into bronchioles, and furtherly also divided, and finally ends in alveoli. So these are the briefly various parts of human respiratory system. Lungs also here. Now we can see that in detailedly what are the parts are there. Yes, this is also purely from NCERT. Points are, now we have a pair of external nostrils. Here one pair of external nostrils we have opens out above the upper lip. So above the upper lip, this is the external nostril, and this is present above the upper lip. This is the upper lip ko above. So external nostrils, or we can call that external nares also, external nostrils. And these external nostrils through the nasal passages opens into nasal chamber. This is totally nasal chamber, we can call this one totally nasal chamber. Here they given nasal cavity. So but here this is totally this is called as a nasal chamber. It is nasal chamber through a nasal passage. They give nasal passage. This is a nasal passage. Actually, passage bole to a narrow tube-like structure which has supporting lateral walls and which will be connects two things. So exterior and interior. So external nostrils or nares opens into or leads into or connects the nasal chamber through the nasal passage. So this is a nasal passage through that nasal chamber here. So this is from NCERT, and a little bit related to NCERT we are going to discuss here. What is that is yes, when nasal passage will be opens into nasal chamber, here first of all number of hairs like structures will be present. This area is known as a vestibular part. It is vestibular part. Vestibular part बोलते हैं इसको. What is the function of this vestibular part is due to the presence of which one? Hairs. Due to the presence of hairs here, this part will be going to filters the air. Filters the air. So हम different areas को visit करते. In some areas there will be a lot of dust particles and sometimes minute insects वैसा. So those are will be going to enter along with the air. We are going to inhale that. Then these dust particles and minute organisms, which one is there, they are going to struck here. And this is not only with this hairs, but also mucous membrane is present, and this mucous membrane traps this one, and everything will be going to forms like a small patches. After few days it will be going to eliminate. Okay, so this is the vestibular part. बाद में just back side of this vestibular part, one more part will be there. This is called as which one? ये portion को बोलते हम this is known as respiratory part. Respiratory part it is. Respiratory part. Okay. So a respiratory part may be mucous membrane is present. Mucous. A thick mucous membrane is present. ये mucous membrane का use क्या है इधर? This mucous membrane use it for two things. That is, mucous membrane will be adjust the temperature of the air. Temperature and humidity. Water content in the air is less, and temperature is more. वो हवा अंदर directly जाने तो this will be going to absorb the moist from the our systems. Then systems will be dries up. Then finally what happens? Exchange of gases will not be fulfilled. That's why here only टेम्परेचर एंड ह्यूमिडिटी दोनों एडजस्ट करके अंदर भेजते. नाउ विंटर सीजन में ऑब्जर्व करने तो विंटर सीजन में टेम्परेचर ऑफ एयर विल बी लेस एंड ह्यूमिडिटी इज मोर. नाउ this area condense the air and collects the excess humidity as a water drops that will be sent outside. नहीं तो ये हवा ऐसे ही अंदर lungs alveoli पे जाने तो there water droplets will be going to condense and mucous membrane will be increases that may be furtherly leads to complications like infection of lungs, pneumonia or TB or any other complications हो सकते. It will be favors the different variety of diseases. That's why our nose will be adjust these two conditions. So nose will be condition the inhaled air. That's why nose is known as the natural air conditioner of our body. So this is a nature or God gifted to human body it is. So now बाद में other area which will be on the above of this portion, respiratory portion. This is known as which one? इसको बोलते olfactory part. Olfactory part. Olfactory part. Okay. So a olfactory part is not belongs to respiratory system, but it will be situated in the respiratory tract for the purpose of sensing the smell of surrounding it is. Okay. Now we can revise that, and what we can remember here for examination purposes, we have a pair of external nostrils, but we have only one nose, and that nose will be divided as two chambers with the help of centrally located nasal septum. Okay, then it will be two chambers, and these two chambers will be communicated to the outer world with the help of two external nostrils or one pair of external nares it is. And these nares will be going to connected with or communicated with which one? Nostril or respiratory chamber it is. Respiratory part or respiratory chamber. Then इसमें three divisions है. So this nostril chamber is connected by a tube. So then this external nares through this passage only connected to the nostril chamber it is. This nostril chamber divided into again three parts. One is vestibular part which filters the air, and the second one is respiratory part which will be adjust the humidity and temperature, acts like a natural conditioner, and another one is olfactory part which is helps in the sense of smelling. Olfaction बोले तो sense of smelling. So this is enough from this slide. We have to remember here chamber passes का difference. Chamber बोले तो this is a chamber, and this chamber communicated to outside through a passage that is which one? Nasal passage. Okay, let us see another slide. Now this nasal cavity, nasal chamber is communicated with another chamber that is called as a pharynx. Let us see that pharynx here. Nasal chamber opens into pharynx. What is the pharynx here? A portion of which is the common passage for food and air. Common passage for food and air it is. Common passage for food and air. Common passage for food and air. Okay. So here we have to remember already जो वर्ड्स इंपॉर्टेंट है हम उसको हाईलाइट करके रखते हैं. सो pharynx is the common passage for food and air. Okay, the pharynx opens through the larynx. Larynx another structure add हो गया, larynx region into the trachea. So pharynx, so this is a highlighted portion जो है ना इधर. So this is totally pharynx. That pharynx will be communicate with the nasal cavity and buccal cavity, and lower that is the larynx. A portion larynx होगा, larynx से communicated to the trachea. Okay, so these portions we can see that. Now First of all, pharynx. This nasal chamber, इधर देखो, this is. ये nasal chamber will be communicated with the pharynx. Then this pharynx is a common passage for food and air. क्यों हम common passage for food and air बोल रहा है? इधर से pharynx को हवा आते and इधर से food जाते pharynx को, food जाते. So both are going to, here this will be going to enter into the digestive tract, air will be going to, so air will be going to enter into the respiratory tract and food will be going to enter into the digestive tract. Both will be crossed with each other in this region. That's why it is known as a common passage for food and air. And this pharynx will be through the larynx, it will be going to opens into respiratory tract. Okay, so pharynx ka 3 regions hote. Those 3 regions are like this one, okay, based on its communication with the different chambers. So a pharynx with pharynx, totally we are going to take that the area from here onwards, totally pharynx. Okay, a pharynx में nasal chamber opens into pharynx, then it is a nasal pharynx, nasopharynx बोलते. Then buccal chamber is communicated or connected with pharynx, that is called as oropharynx. Oropharynx or buccopharynx बोलते. Oropharynx. Oropharynx. Next one is this pharynx will be communicated with the larynx, that is laryngopharynx बोलते. This area laryngopharynx. 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 These are the 3 areas. Okay, one is let us see that here. 3 areas. Okay, one is nasopharynx and another one is oropharynx and another one is laryngopharynx. These are the 3 areas of pharynx region. Okay, next this pharynx opens into which one? Larynx region. Larynx के बारे में discuss करना है अभी. Okay, so next slide. Larynx is a cartilaginous box. It is. So it is a cartilaginous box. Larynx is a cartilaginous box which helps in the sound production. So what is the function of this one is it helps in the sound production के लिए हमको help करते and hence called as a sound box. Called as a sound box. So larynx is known as a sound box. Why it is known as a sound box is it is helps in the production of sound. That's why it is known as a sound box. इधर देखो ये color में differentiation mention किया. These are the vocal cords. Let me later I can explain that totally larynx का structure भी no problem. Let see this one. Okay, let me explain this how it will be. Now these 2 will be here called as vocal folds or vocal cords. During the production of voice, they are going to close and from the lungs air will be going to touch us this one and they are going to vibrate. So then vibration के वजह से इधर sound produce होगा. Then ये देखो vibration के sound produce होगा. इधर voice formation. Next one is inhalation के time पे इसके बीच में gap आते. Inhalation, normal inhalation and forceful breathing, deep breath. So either gap will be more it is. Okay, so this is about just which one vocal cords का location mention करते during inspiration, inhalation. This will be going to open during the voice production. It will be becomes means vocal cords becomes closer and they will be vibrate and produces the sound. Now next slide. In this one, we can observe the internal structure of this cartilaginous box. इसमें क्या structures है? Okay, we can see that. This cartilaginous box, larynx, will contains the totally 9 cartilages. 9 cartilages will be present. Among these 9 cartilages, we can categorize it as one category that is unpaid and another one is paid. Unpaid. and another one is a paid. Paid cartilages. Now, unpaid cartilages, paid cartilages, what are those things? We can see that. Unpaid cartilages जो है ना, those are thyroid cartilage. This is not a gland here. Thyroid cartilage. And another one is epiglottis. Already we know that epiglottis. Epiglottis. And last one is cricoid cartilage. Cricoid cartilage. So these three cartilages are unpaid. बोले तो those are single in number. Totally that is 3. 3 types. Number also 3. Next one is paid cartilages को हम observe करने तो paid cartilages are like this. Paid cartilages. So paid cartilages are 3 types and number 6 होगा. Those are arytenoid. Arytenoid. This is 2, 1 pair. And next one is corniculate. Corniculate cartilage. These are also 2. And another one is cuneiformis. Cuneiformis. So this is also 2. Totally these are 6. So 6 plus 3 that is 9 cartilages. Okay. So ये NCERT में mention नहीं किया. Little bit related to NCERT only. This box हम cut करने तो ऐसा दिखते in different views. Okay. So ये totally made up of 9 cartilages. उसमें unpaid cartilages are 3 types, paid cartilages are 3 types. लेकिन unpaid cartilages total in number 3, paid cartilages are total in number 6. Those are, what are those things is unpaid cartilages are thyroid, epiglottis, cricoid, and paid cartilages are arytenoid, cuneiformis and corniculate. So these are, इसमें order में by heart करने का जरूरत नहीं, just what are they are. Okay, इसमें thyroid cartilage है ना, first one thyroid cartilage. This thyroid cartilage will be thyroid. So here this is the thyroid cartilage, thyroid bone, thyroid cartilage mentioned here, thyroid cartilage. So this thyroid cartilage is the largest cartilage. It is largest. It is largest cartilage, and during puberty, this largest cartilage thyroid जो है ना, it will be protruded in males and it will be protruded here and small notch like it is protruded, small bulged portion will be present, that is called as Adam's apple. Adam's apple बोलते, Adam's apple it is. So this Adam's apple is the protruded structure of which one? ये thyroid cartilage है ना, ये area में. So protruded structure of thyroid cartilage in males only. It is during puberty condition we can observe. Means it is like a secondary sexual characters we can observe only in males. Okay, it is a derivative of which one? Largest cartilage, thyroid. Epiglottis. So this is epiglottis. This is a flap-like structure which will be covers the glottis. Glottis बोले तो this is only the cavity here. So this cavity totally, ये cavity को cover करके epiglottis will be going to present. ये cavity को बोलते rima glottidis बोलते इसको, rima glottidis. ये cavity को दोनों side क्या है? Vocal cords will be there and ये false vocal cords बोलते इसको. Then totally it will be considered as a glottis. Okay. Now epiglottis and thyroid cartilage. Next one, cricoid cartilage. Cricoid cartilage, here it is. Cricoid cartilage. Cricoid. ये क्या है? Circular cartilage बोलते. Cricoid cartilage को circular cartilage we can call that. Next one is paid cartilage, arytenoid, corniculate and cuneiformis. Okay. So here next slide में वो cartilages को हम clearly देख सकते. इधर भी they mention that cricoid cartilage and arytenoid cartilage. So this is arytenoid cartilage and here cricoid cartilage. Backside they are covered here. That's why it is not easily visible here. Next slide. So side section of this one, we can observe that. So thyroid cartilage, cuneiformis cartilage. So this is cuneiformis cartilage here, cuneiformis. And next one is corniculate cartilage. Corniculate. कहाँ है corniculate? So corniculate cartilage. So this is a corniculate cartilage. Okay. So and arytenoid cartilage. Arytenoid cartilage. This is a arytenoid cartilage and cricoid cartilage. So this is a cricoid cartilage. Cricoid cartilages. So these are the cartilages which forms the totally a cartilaginous box like structure which is helps to producing of which one sound, इसलिए उसको बोलते sound box. So यही this is okay. So larynx is a cartilaginous box which helps in the sound production and hence called sound box. Okay. Yes. This is internal structure, different variety of cartilages क्या है, ये cartilages NCERT में mention नहीं किया, लेकिन remember करने तो हमको कोई risk नहीं होते. So these are the different variety of cartilages and section of this box in lateral view. Yes. Next one, human respiratory system में next part. Okay. So that is ये glottis epiglottis क्या है? Glottis, previously also we mentioned that as a gap, usko cover karke, opening only. So this is only glottis. Here glottis is ye glottis. Okay, this is the gateway or actual opening of respiratory system here. क्योंकि previously जो pharynx, nasal cavity, these are maybe acts like a which one common passage. Pharynx clearly it is a common passage for food and air. So now here is a strictly restricted area here onwards. Only filtered air will be allowed into the respiratory tract. So this opening of original respiratory tract is known as glottis. This glottis is covered by a one cartilaginous flap, that is elastic cartilage. Elastic cartilaginous flap, तो leaf-like structure, which will be covers this one and protects this one. क्या है? Food particles enter होने तो और water particles enter होने का कोशिश कर सकते while we are swallowing, then it will be going to cover this one. So once we see, here it is. So food was swallowing, when food is reached to this area, then it will be totally closed. ये देखो, this is the respiratory tract. It was closed and here it is food passage. Gullet जो है ना, gullet will be open here it is. Actually gullet food passage esophagus का opening जो है ना, that is not guarded by any flap like structure, but originally it has one sphincter. So that is esophageal sphincter. It is relaxed while we are swallowing the food, but same time glottis is closed. So by the opening of esophageal sphincter and closing of glottis, then what happens? By the epiglottis, glottis close होगा. So food will be or water will be anything which will be enters into the which one food pipe only, but not windpipe. So windpipe is a shape. क्योंकि कोई food material or foreign particle will be enters into the restricted area, there will be a immediately reaction will be going to initiated like irritation feeling. So we are going to shows the cough or sneezing through that जो particles enter हो गया, they will be sent outside immediately. Okay, so this is about which one glottis and epiglottis. So what is they given here? During the swallowing, glottis can be covered by a elastic cartilaginous flap called as a epiglottis. So glottis को cover करके उसका ऊपर होती. Epi means upper, we know that. Above the glottis is present, that's why it is called as a epiglottis. To prevent the entry, what is the function of this epiglottis is it will be prevent the entry of food materials or any other foreign particles into the larynx and concerned respiratory tract. Okay, so this is the given in NCERT, but here we can get one extra point is esophagus is provided with the sphincter. It is not always remains open, it is also remains closed. Generally we are thinking that it is always remains open, it is able to close and open, but here sphincter is present to regulate this esophagus, but not a flap-like structure. But respiratory tract has a flap-like structure. It will be closes. Okay. And one more thing here, at the end of this is called as a palate, which is separates the which one nasal chamber and buccal chamber. This is nasal chamber. नॉसल चेंबर, ये नॉसल चेंबर बकल चेंबर को दोनों को सेपरेट करके दिस इज कॉल्ड एज अ विच वन पैलेट. ये पैलेट का एंड पोर्शन विल बी लाइक ए स्मॉल ग्रेप दैट इज कॉल्ड एज यूवुला. यूवुला, this uvula will be closes this the connection which will be in between the nasal chamber and pharynx. That's why this food will be prevented backflow into nasal chamber. This is not allowed, and it will be directed forward. So that is which one pharynx region, oropharynx, laryngopharynx. So again, once the food will be enters into laryngopharynx, then epiglottis will be going to covers this one. Epiglottis will be going to covers this one here. Epiglottis is clearly covered, and next one is food pipe will be opened, that is esophageal sphincter will be relaxed, then food automatically or water automatically will be entered into the food pipe. Now generally in schools, on walls, in dining halls also, on walls we are going to observe some quotations like while we are eating we should not talk. Then what is the reason why they are going to say that? Okay, so the reason is while we are talking, from the lungs air will be going to comes upward, then by that epiglottis will be under confusion whether I have to close or open. In that suspense condition may some food particles or water particles will be going to escape from here and enters into the respiratory tract. Then irritation will be going to start. That is nothing but a cough or sneezing will be going to talk. That's why while we are drinking water or while we are eating, swallowing, we have to not concentrate on any other thing. We have to concentrate only on that particular thing. क्योंकि हम खाने के बीच में बात किया तो then this is the consequences. Okay, so next slide. Trachea is a straight tube. Next trachea के बारे में दे दिया. One second. Yes. So trachea, next part. Because previously pharynx completed, बाद में larynx completed. Next larynx opens into trachea. So trachea is a straight tube extending up to the mid-thoracic cavity. So from the neck region it will be going to started and enters into the thorax and the middle thorax exactly, and the mid-thorax where it is fifth thoracic vertebrae at this place. So मैं क्यों इधर दो diagrams ले लिया बोले तो vertebral column it is not related this one. So इसका location exactly पता चलने के लिए मैं ये diagram को ले लिया. So this is the thoracic region. ये blue color में mention किया ना totally, that is the thoracic region of our vertebral column. These are called as a thoracic vertebrae. Okay. So ये thoracic vertebrae में कौन सा? This is the T5 vertebrae. T5. At the level of T5 vertebrae, this which one trachea is going to divides as a two branches. Trachea divides into two branches. So इधर से trachea travel होते, then at this level exactly it is going to divides as two branches. Then it is produces two branches. Those two branches only we can call that one as which one? Bronchi. Okay, so our bronchi bolte. Now into it is produces two branches. No, those are enters into the right and left lungs में enter होगा. Each bronchi undergo again furtherly each bronchi or bronchi undergoes repeated divisions. फिर भी repeatedly divide होते, and it can produce as the secondary and tertiary bronchi. Secondary and tertiary bronchi को produce करूँगा. So इधर ये furtherly primary bronchi when it is enters into the lungs, फिर भी इधर branches होते रहते. Then those are primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi will be there. Furtherly I can explain that. Okay, so and bronchi finally divides into bronchioles and ending up with very thin terminal branchioles. So terminal branchioles tak lete. Okay, but here terminal branch is not end. So furtherly it is also going to divided as respiratory branchioles, alveolar ducts, and alveolar ducts finally ends in alveolar sacs. Alveolar sacs will be communicate with alveoli, final structures. इतना division हो सकते. So मैं furtherly उसको explain करूँगा. Okay, so next इधर हम कौन सा रिमेंबर करना है? ट्रैकिया डिवाइड्स इनटू ब्रॉन्ची एट द फिफ्थ थोरैसिक वर्टेब्रे. ये एग्जाम में इंपॉर्टेंट हो सकते हैं, स्टेटमेंट को भी डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन पे भी पूछ सकते. एंड trachea divides into bronchi, bronchi divides into further branches, that is the secondary, tertiary, and furtherly branchioles also going to produced. Next, respiratory tree. Okay, so a respiratory tree we can see here. This is only total respiratory tree and its branching. Okay, so first trachea, this trachea divides into at the level of T5 vertebrae. At the level of T5 vertebrae, it is divides. Okay, so at the level of T5 vertebrae, this will be divides as which one? Bronchi. Bronchi में primary, secondary, tertiary bronchi, and tertiary bronchi furtherly divides as primary, secondary, tertiary branchioles. These are totally branchioles. Branchioles it is. Okay, so these branchioles, primary, secondary, tertiary हो गए ना. Furtherly, terminal branchioles. Terminal branchioles will be going to divides as respiratory branchioles. Respiratory branchioles will be alveolar ducts. Alveolar ducts will be going to ends in alveolar sac. A portion alveolar sac it is. Then this alveolar sac will be इधर ये तो closed diagrams है, लेकिन वो ऐसा नहीं होते. They are open. So these are alveoli, small pouches like. ये alveoli का नंबर कितना है हमारा बॉडी में बोले तो those are alveoli. Alveoli are 300 millions. 300 millions है. वो alveoli pouches को हम स्ट्राइट करने तो उसका सरफेस एरिया 100 to 100 square meters हो सकते. That is approximately they given in different books. What they given is here. That is 70 to 100 square meters तक हो सकते. That is a greater surface area. Okay, so this is totally respiratory tree which is not clearly mentioned in NCERT. So either order based question पूछ सकते बेटा. So first of all I am going to revise that. Trachea divides into primary. Trachea divides into primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, and tertiary bronchi. So this bronchi furtherly divides into a blue color ka. So that is a primary branchiole, secondary branchiole, and tertiary branchiole, terminal branchiole, respiratory branchiole, alveolar ducts, alveolar sacs, and alveolar sacs finally ends in small pouches. Those are called as alveoli. Their number is 300 millions and they provides the surface area 70 square meters to 100 square meters. And here one more point also NCERT में clearly mention किया. So this is which one? Trachea. This trachea and कौन सा? Bronchi, total bronchi, and next one is there initial bronchioles also. Initial bronchioles also supported by which one? Cartilaginous rings. Initial bronchioles means we may take that primary or secondary bronchioles only, but not these tertiary bronchioles, terminal remaining parts. क्योंकि बोले तो इधर इसका diameters ज़्यादा होते. That's why they should be provided with this C-shaped cartilaginous rings, that is a hyaline cartilage. Furtherly हम discuss करते हैं अभी now. So next ये initial branchioles को छोड़ के remaining those are smaller in size, minute branches. Those are repeatedly furtherly they are dividing. So they are not provided, means they are need not necessarily provided with these C-shaped cartilaginous rings. okay, they may not undergo any collapse, इधर collapse होने का chances है, इसलिए then these are provided, are supported with the these C-shaped rings. The tracheae, primary and secondary and tertiary bronchi and initial bronchioles are supported by incomplete cartilaginous rings. So already we discussed that in respiratory tree. Which one? Trachea, primary, secondary, tertiary bronchi, and initial bronchioles may be primary and secondary. These are supported by incomplete cartilaginous rings. So incomplete cartilaginous rings will be supports these structures. You should remember that in which one in bronchioles, those are initial bronchioles only. Don't forget this one. Compulsory you have to remember this one. Initial bronchioles along with branchi and trachea, they are supported by the incomplete cartilaginous rings. बाद में जो bronchioles में है tertiary and quaternary, terminal, and next one is alveolar ducts, alveolar sacs. These are not supported by this incomplete C-shaped cartilaginous rings. Okay. Now because they are smaller in size, that's why no need to support. Next one, each terminal bronchiole gives rise to a number of very thin irregular walled. So ये point भी थोड़ा सा important है. Generally we are thinking that ये diagram में देखने तो alveoli will be a regular surface, but NCERT में दे दिया this is irregularly walled and vascularized bag-like structure called as alveoli. So alveoli is a irregular surface. It has a irregular surface, okay, and bag-like structure it is, and it is surrounded by a number of blood capillary network, that is a vascular tissue. So this is the points we have to remember here. 2 points majorly. That is one is these incomplete cartilaginous rings are supported by which one? Trachea, bronchi, primary, secondary, tertiary bronchi, and initial bronchioles only here supported by the incomplete cartilaginous rings. And second thing is here which one? This is only alveoli will be contains the irregular surfaces and provided by the circulatory tissue. Okay. Now what is the arrangement of this incomplete cartilaginous rings is this is incomplete cartilaginous rings. I mean अभी देखने तो ये anteriorly means the ventral side it is complete, but back side dorsal side जो है ना that is incomplete here. Back side it is incomplete. So this is incomplete here. So totally this is incomplete here, and front side only it is complete. So why they are C-shaped here? That is the main thing here we have to discuss. Now if we discuss that how these are arranged, that is a food pipe and a windpipe. ये जो है ना हमको दिख रहा है this is trachea, and back side जो है ना this is esophagus. Esophagus, this is esophagus. So हमको बाहर means outside which one it will be visible, that is the respiratory pipe, that is nothing but windpipe. उसका back side जो है ना that is a food pipe. This food pipe shows the peristaltic movements. As we know that peristaltic movements कैसे होते हैं? This is a wavy like movement, peristaltic movement. These wave like movements will be facilitated by this incomplete cartilaginous rings. If these are also completely will be there, then it will be going to obstruct. कैसे? So if it is completely like a ring, complete ring is there, then it will be going to obstruct. Here peristaltic movement will be obstructed. Okay, so there will be a passage of the food material. That's why to facilitate the easy peristaltic movements, these cartilaginous rings are incomplete. Back side, that is the dorsal side only incomplete. Ventral side it is complete. Okay, so we can write that exactly as a C-shaped cartilaginous rings. These are hyaline cartilaginous. Okay, so next slide. Let us see here what they given. The branching network of bronchioles and alveoli comprises the lungs. So lungs, what they comprises? Lungs comprises the alveoli. Next one, bronchioles and bronchi. these are complete. इधर फिर भी हम ऑब्जर्व करने तो ब्रांची में, सो प्राइमरी ब्रांची जो ब्रांचिंग है ना, दिस इज सम पार्ट विल बी आउटसाइड एंड रिमेनिंग पार्ट विल बी इनसाइड ऑफ द लंग्स. Okay, remaining secondary branchioles and tertiary branchi, and one more thing is there, remaining structures of branchioles, everything will be inside in the lungs. Okay, so this is the arrangement. Lungs comprises the bronchi, branchioles and alveoli. This is the first point we have to remember. And the next point, we have two lungs. So lungs, everyone know that two or one pair of lungs we have, so are covered by a peritoneal membrane, that is double layered pleura. इसको बोलते pleura, pleura, pneumo, these words are indicates the lungs only. Pleura बोले तो lungs. Okay, so lungs covered by a peritoneal membrane. So it contains the two layers. Outer one जो है, so that is called as parietal pleura. Outer one is a parietal pleura, and inner one is this green color is a visceral pleura. These words also mentioned with concerned color only. Outer layer is parietal pleura, inner layer is the visceral pleura. In between these two, the cavity which is present, that cavity, a cavity. So this cavity which is present, this is known as a cavity को बोलते कौन सा? This is called as a pleural cavity. And the cavity filled with liquid, that is called as a pleural fluid. This is a pleural fluid. So what is the function of the pleural fluid? So briefly here they given, it is this fluid will be reduce the friction on the lung surface. Not only this one, it will be useful for few things. It is which one? Pleural fluid will be not only reduces the friction, it is acts like a lubricant, and it is also acts like a shock absorber. Next, it will be prevents the desiccation, means prevents the dehydration. Dehydration of lungs. So these are the uses of which one? This fluid which is present in the pleural cavity. It is acts as a lubricant, means it makes the surface softer. That is only, it reduces the friction they given, and it is acts like a shock absorber. Shock absorber बोले तो, so we are not going to use the rods or any other thing. So it will be up to certain extent neutralize the pressure on the lung surface, but not much more pressures. Next one is prevents the dehydration. So it is a liquid. It is prevents the dehydration or desiccation. That is the use of this pleural fluid present in the cavity. Next, outer pleural membrane, which one? That is only parietal pleura. This parietal pleura is lines the which one? Thoracic cavity, means it is fuses with the rib cage. And inner one kaun sa? That is visceral pleura. Visceral pleura becomes like a part of which one? Lungs. It will be attached to the lung surface. Okay, so this is the points here they clearly mention. Let us see once again here what they given. The lungs comprises, what the lungs comprises is, lungs comprises totally alveoli and totally branchioles, their branches, and next one is bronchi also they are present. But you have to remember that primary bronchi, some portion will be outside of lung and most of the portion will be inside of the lungs. Okay, next one, lungs are covered by, here not only lungs are covered by the parietal membrane, most of the internal organs covered by the parietal pleura or visceral pleura. Most of the organs will be covered by membrane called as mesothelium. That mesothelium, as we saw in coelom, parietal and visceral. So here also same thing here, that is surrounds the lungs. This pleural membrane is there. Outer one is called as a parietal and inner one is called as a visceral. उसका बीच में जो गैप है उसको बोलते pleural cavity and it is filled by the pleural fluid. ये pleural fluid का function क्या है? It will be acts like a lubricant and acts like a shock absorber and prevents the desiccation or dehydration. This is the one point we have to remember. And another point is this visceral pleura, it becomes like a part of lungs, and parietal pleura is lines the thoracic cavity. These 2 points we have to remember here. Okay, so let us go for another slide. Yes, अभी तक हम लंग्स का एक्सटर्नल मॉर्फोलॉजी डिस्कस किया और थोड़ा सा क्लोजली ऑब्जर्व करने तो lungs are not equal in size. Right lung is a little bit larger than the left lung. Right lung, if we are observed that in this one, it contains the two fissures. So two fissures. These two fissures will be divides the lungs into how many? 3 lobes like structures. Right lung को 3 lobes ऐसा divide करते. So one is upper lobe or superior lobe, and middle one is called as middle lobe only. This is middle lobe, and another one is a lower lobe, that is known as inferior lobe. So superior lobe, and next one is a middle lobe, and this one inferior lobe. So right lung is divided into 3 lobes by 2 fissures. So fissure बोले तो क्या है? Fissure means a deep groove which can divides anything as 2 parts. That is called as a fissure. So here 2 fissures. One is a horizontal fissure and another one is oblique fissure. Will be divides the entire right lung into 3 lobes. Upper one जो है superior lobe, middle one जो है middle lobe, inferior one is जो है lower lobe, that is inferior lobe. Okay, so next we can see the left lung. Left lung में only one fissure, that is oblique fissure will be there. This oblique fissure will be divides the entire left lung as 2 lobes. Upper one is the superior lobe and lower one is inferior lobe. So this is only the points we have to remember from this slide. Okay, so let us revise that once again. Our body has one pair of lungs. इसमें right one is a little bit larger than the left one. This is one point we have to remember. And right one divided into 3 lobes due to the presence of which one? 2 fissures. One is a horizontal fissure and another one is a oblique fissure. ये दोनों fissures makes the lungs into 3 lobes, not 2 lobes, it is 3 lobes. So among these 3 lobes, upper one is known as superior lobe and middle one is a middle lobe only. Lower one is known as a inferior lobe. And left lung, due to presence of oblique fissure, it is divided as a superior and inferior lobes. That's enough. Now we can discuss the next slide. Here what they given is, the conducting part transports the atmospheric air to the alveoli, clears it from the foreign particles, humidifies and also brings the air to the body temperature. Okay, that's why it is known as a natural air conditioner. ये point हम पहले भी discussion हो चुका, क्योंकि ये conducting part it comprises what are the parts is conducting part में conducting, this is totally called as a conducting zone, conducting part. It is starts from which one? External nostrils onwards up to which one? Terminal bronchioles. These are the parts of a conducting zone, it is, or conducting part. And the next part will be which one? Respiratory bronchioles to the alveoli. This is called as exchanging zone or exchanging part. So this will be going to exchanges the gases, and upper one conducting part will be going to do that which one? It is clears the air as well as it is adjust the temperature and humidity of the air which is going to inhaled by the person. This is the function of which one? Conducting zone. And another one is exchanging zone. Exchanging zone may exchange of gases will be going to takes place. Okay, so I'm going to revise this one more. So here, total respiratory tract divided into two parts. One is a conducting zone and another one is a exchanging zone. So conducting zone contains the parts like external nostrils to which one? Terminal bronchioles, terminal bronchioles. And next one is there, exchanging part contains the respiratory bronchioles to alveoli totally it is. So these are the two parts in the our respiratory system. So what conducting zone can do is it will be going to clears the air which is entered and it will be going to modifies the temperature and humidity suitable to our body. That is the function of a conducting zone. And exchanging zone jo hai na, so it will be going to helps in the exchange of gases. Here we have to remember that from where to where conducting portion and what is the function, and from where to where exchanging zone and what it can do. Okay, so this is important. Next slide is, yes. So next slide is given like this. The lungs are situated in the thoracic chamber. As we know that lungs are situated in our thoracic chamber only above the diaphragm. Okay. Now, which is anatomically an airtight chamber? So anatomically it is an airtight chamber. So how we can say this one? Anatomically airtight chamber is, so it is the thoracic chamber is formed. Thoracic chamber कैसे फॉर्म होते हैं? Dorsally by the vertebral column. Dorsal side है तो कौन सा है? Vertebral column है. So this is a dorsal side. Vertebral column will be there. Okay. So this is thoracic vertebrae here. Next one, ventrally. Ventrally कौन सा है? Ventrally sternum is there. This is the dorsal side. And this is the ventral side. Ventral side sternum will be there. Dorsal side vertebral column. Ventral side sternum. And lower side is which one? Diaphragm. That is the posterior. Diaphragm will be, and this is the anterior. So ye तीन parts, that is nothing but dorsal side vertebral column, ventral side sternum, and lower side which one? That is nothing but posterior side diaphragm. And laterally which one? Ribs are present. Laterally these are ribs. So these ribs all are combinedly forms like a airtight container chamber that is only protects the our lungs very carefully. So this is explains this slide. So let us see that once again here. The lungs are situated in the thoracic chamber which is anatomically an airtight container. So how this airtight container will be going to formed? Dorsally vertebral column, ventrally sternum, and posterior side that is a diaphragm, and laterally anterior कोई नहीं होते, इधर close हो जाएगा. So laterally which one? Ribs are present. These all are makes the thoracic cavity as a airtight container or chamber. That is only they explain here. So compulsory ये point है तो हम remember करना ही, क्योंकि ये statements को देने का chances है. Okay ना? Next slide. Yes. The anatomical setup of lungs in thorax is such that any change in the volume of thoracic cavity will be reflected in the lungs, that is a pulmonary cavity. इधर first point क्या दे दिया? Last slide में हम देखा lungs are arranged in thoracic cavity in a airtight container or chamber. अभी क्या दे दिया उसका एक्सटेंशन? ये एयर टाइट कंटेनर चेंबर में, दैट इज नथिंग बट थोरैसिक कैविटी में कोई चेंजेस आ गया, डायरेक्टली इट विल बी रिफ्लेक्टेड इन द पल्मोनरी कैविटी. सो दैट इज द गिवन हियर इट इज. एंड सच अरेंजमेंट इज एसेंशियल फॉर द ब्रीदिंग एज वी कैनॉट डायरेक्टली, वी कैनॉट स्टेटमेंट्स में कैन देते, cannot नहीं देते. So this is we have to remember. So we cannot directly alters the pulmonary volumes. So we cannot directly operate our lungs from outside. इसीलिए हम directly alterate नहीं कर सकते ना, then a arrangement हो जाएगा. So इधर हमको दो points compulsory याद में रखना ही पड़ता. One is we can write that in a equation form, that is the changes in the thoracic volume, changes in the volume of thoracic cavity, changes in the volume of thoracic cavity directly proportional to, these are directly proportional to changes in the pulmonary cavity, changes in the pulmonary cavity. So ये point आप compulsory remember करना ही. Okay, so what is that is changes occurred in the volume of thoracic cavity is directly proportional to changes occurred in the pulmonary cavity. That is only here they given. The anatomical setup of lungs in thorax is such that any changes in the volume of the thoracic cavity will be directly reflected in the lungs or pulmonary cavity. So changes in the thoracic cavity, these are directly reflected in the lungs or pulmonary cavity. This is enough from this slide. So this is only thoracic cavity. This is called as totally thoracic rib cage. This is a lateral side ribs, and this is a sternum, back side vertebral column, already we saw that, and lower side which one diaphragm will be there. ये पूरा मिलके in all directions ये thoracic cavity को rib cage और bony basket जैसा form करते हैं. Any change will be means either thoracic cavity increase हो गया, then compulsory there will be a increase in the lungs also. The thoracic cavity decrease हो गया, lungs also going to decrease in the area. So next slide we can see that. Yes. Here events of respiration or respiration involves in the following steps. So steps in the respiration. कौन सा steps होते इधर? Let us see that what are the steps. First step is that is nothing but pulmonary ventilation or इसको बोलते breathing. And the second one is there alveolar gas exchange or external respiration बोलते इसको, external respiration बोलते. And next one transport of gases, third event. And fourth event is internal respiration, and fifth event is cellular respiration. These are the 5 events. Through these events only gases will be going to exchange. Let us see that a little bit in detail here. Yes, first one breathing or pulmonary ventilation बोले तो क्या है? So breathing or pulmonary ventilation by which atmospheric air is drawn into the lungs and CO2 rich air is released outside. So here it is from atmosphere, here atmosphere, surrounding environment. Now surrounding environment से कौन सा oxygen was taken, and next one carbon dioxide air was going to sending outside. This is called as pulmonary ventilation or breathing बोलते. Now ये gas जो अंदर ले लिया means air which one is taken inside in the lungs, it is going to reach to lungs only. No, now here first exchange will be going to takes place, that is in between the alveoli and blood, alveoli and blood. That's why it is known as external respiration. First exchange of gases will be takes place in between the alveoli and blood. So here now oxygen was hand over to the blood, that is nothing but a transport circulatory tissue, and blood will be carries this one towards to which one towards to the target organs, that is nothing but tissues. Tissues को target sites बोलते हैं ना, उधर तक लेके आते. That is called as which one gases transport बोलते. Now इधर आने के बाद again in between the blood and tissues exchange of gases will be going to takes place, that is called as internal respiration. Now tissues will be going to make use of these gases, or cells will be going to make use of these gases. This is called as cellular respiration. This is only original respiration process. So these are the events of respiration. Okay, again briefly I am saying that kyunki this is order based question, compulsory they may ask that, important. Now first step is pulmonary ventilation or breathing bolte. Second step is external respiration, which will be occurred in between the alveoli and blood. And third step is transport of gases. And fourth step is this is a second exchange occurred in between the blood and tissues. Next one, finally, tissues or cells make use of these gases. This is called as cellular respiration or original respiration it is. Here oxygen will be get utilized, oxidized food materials indirectly and releases the energy. Okay, so important, this is order based